Hey Telcostado, welcome. Hey Andax, welcome. Welcome Ziggs.
Thank you.
Welcome Demencia. Welcome Renar. Okay, we're just missing one person. Renar, it's your guildie Yasura. Do you know if that person is going to attend or not? Okay, so they won't be able to make it. Is that what you're saying? Okay, no problem. I'll just get another one of my guildies in here then. Welcome to those that are watching the live stream. This is our first teaching raid of 2017, and if you're not familiar, this is the 4th year that the High Lords of Malkier have been hosting teaching raids for new players and people who are new to raids as well. And what we're going to be doing is working through every raid in the game twice. Every week we'll do a different raid. Some weeks we'll do multiple raids. This week we're going to be doing a legendary Shroud, which I always do as the first one. Guys, go ahead and, if you're not already in Meridia, just make your way there. And we're going to get started shortly. For those of you who are new to this, make sure that you have curse pots, remove disease, lesser restoration pots, and neutralize poison pots. You should have those on every tune at all times anyways, but if you don't have them on the tune that you're on right now, you've got a few minutes to go get some, because you're going to experience all of those conditions. So unless you're immune to those conditions, you should definitely have pots. So like I said, you got plenty of time to take a few minutes to go get some of those if you don't have them on you. Hey dude, yeah, I had a no-show, so would love your help. Thanks so much, appreciate it. So to the live streamers out there, this is something that I post, every week. Like I said, we'll be doing a different raid, sometimes 2 raids, and I'll be posting these events in the Sarlona forum. So if you're on Sarlona, if you're a newer player, or if you're new to raiding, because I know there's a lot of people out there that have been playing even for a long time. I mean, there are people that have been playing this game for longer than me and have never run a raid before. So, I know that raids can be intimidating, or maybe you got turned off by them because, you met some jerk raid leaders or something. you ran into some elitists, you had some bad experiences, whatever the case, if you've been avoiding raids, I hope that you'll consider joining us for our teaching raids, because it's a lot of fun. It's a learning environment, low stress. We we show you how the raid works. We talk you through it. We explain as much as we reasonably can. So I've got tonight's crew filled up with about half my guildies and then half people that are newer to this. And I'm not going to be able to be very attentive to the live chatters because I'm going to be focusing on the people that are here signed up for the event. I want everybody just to be aware that we are live streaming this event tonight. We are just going to be doing Legendary Normal. I want to make sure that this is a very low stress learning environment, and I want to welcome y'all again. There's at least one person here that has joined us before for teaching raids, so it's really cool to see a returning person. And I have, about half of the folks here are my guildies to help out. And we got some people that are new to teaching raids, so it's very cool to see some new faces. And I want to know, I know I asked you guys when you signed up, but I think we've got some people here that have never run Legendary Shroud, some people here that only run it once, maybe a few times or something. And I think there might be even 1 or 2 people here that even have very limited experience with Heroic Shroud even. So if you could say again, if you've done this before, or if you've done it once or twice, or if you're already familiar with Heroic Shroud but haven't done Legendary. You've done it once, okay. Once on Talanis a few months ago. Heroic but never Legendary. Only once on Heroic, wow. Only Heroic a couple of times. And that's my guildie, folks. Don't let him fool you. Go ahead and step in, guys. Some of us are already inside. So like I said, we're just going to do Legendary Normal. If you need to pause your Bravery bonus, go ahead and do that too. You got time to do that. I should have said that right away. Yeah, this is a great XP raid. Not only that's what you're going to get for completion. You're going to get another 25,000 after we finish every part. So it's going to be over 300,000 by the time we finish. Even on normal. But, like I said, we're doing Legendary Normal, so it's a lower stress environment. Legendary Hard is not a gimme completion, though. I want you guys to be aware of that. Pugs are failing Legendary Shroud. Legendary Shrouds happens all the time. Now, you could go into a pug and they might smash Legendary Shroud, but you can also go into a pug and they could fail in Part 1 or Part 4. It's very easy to fail in Part 1 and Part 4. I mean, you could fail in the other parts too, but it's very easy to get overwhelmed in Part 1, for example. And so what I'm going to do, for those of you who haven't ever joined teaching raids before, is we'll be explaining the raid. In this particular raid, there are 5 different parts, and so we're going to be explaining it as we go. I'll be explaining how each part works ahead of each part. And if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to ask at any point. And don't be afraid to interrupt me, please, because otherwise I'll just keep going. And, our goal here is not to try to make you guys expert at this raid. It's to give you a basic level of competency so that you feel comfortable with the raid, that you feel comfortable joining a pug, and that you have a reasonable idea of what's going on and what to do. So, in Part 1, because there are some people that have little to no experience with this, it's the way it's going to work. Yeah, we could see some lag in here. We're going to zone into kind of a big area, and there's going to be some trash that we're going to need to take a couple of minutes to clear out. And after we clear the trash, then there's going to be these portals that start spawning. And we're going to need to beat down the portals, and there's going to be like a dozen or more of these portals that spawn like 1 or 2 or 3 at a time. And trash will spawn out of these portals, so the longer they're up, the more trash will come out of it. And if the portals are up for like a few minutes, then they will spawn what is called a portal keeper. It's this tiefling caster looking dude. And if that portal keeper remains in the zone for 1 minute, I think it's 1 minute, maybe it's 2, then the quest auto fails and everybody gets tossed right out of the raid. So it's really, really important that there are people assigned to taking care of those portal keepers. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 people assigned to trash duty, and I'm just going to put 2 of my guildies on that. And what they're going to be doing is basically scouting around separate from the party. The party will stay together beating on these portals, and we'll just move from portal to portal. And there's a certain order that we'll do it, and you're probably not familiar with that order, but we'll show you how that works. And for those of you who are very familiar with Heroic Shroud but don't have a lot of experience with Legendary Shroud, the first 4 parts are generally the same, but there are some little differences, and so I'm going to be pointing those out too. So in this part, we're going to go in, we're going to clear some trash, and then we're going to start beating down portals. 1 at a time. The party will stay together, and we'll clear out all those portals, and then we'll go to the end of part 1, and then I'll explain part 2. Does anybody have any questions before we get started? And I'm going to figure out who's going to be on trash duty. In fact, who of the High Lords here can do trash? Need self-sufficient people, preferably insta-killers. It's just normal. Okay, Gijo.
I can do trash in here.
Great. Gijo and Musk will do trash. Everybody else will be on portals. Let's get our final buffs. Unfortunately, if you're familiar with like heroic green steel, then you know that it is among the best heroic gear in the game. And there's just nothing more gratifying than getting to like level 11 and 12 and putting on your green steel. Legendary green steel is pretty cool too. It's a little underwhelming considering how amazing regular green steel is. And I would love for some of us to be able to link our legendary green steel, but unfortunately there's a display bug, and when you link legendary green steel, you cannot read what's on it. So there's an example. Like if you looked at that, you can't really see everything that's there. In any event, I do have a video about legendary green steel crafting. If you're interested, you can go to my YouTube channel and look that up. Alright, let's get started. So here we can just disperse, watch for the blades. They won't do much damage on normal, but on hard and elite they can do a lot of damage, especially on elite. They can wipe you right out if you have low hit points. So like I said, just go ahead and disperse and help take care of trash, and then once we clear all the trash, and if you look in the upper right hand corner, you'll see it says 11 left. That's how many trash mobs there are remaining for us to kill. Now it says 8, 9, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we go back to the center, kind of where we first came in. And there'll be a portal up right there in the center. Now if you are an 80s video game nerd like I am, if you look on the ground you'll see that there are these corpses, and it says Green Elf, Blue Valkyrie, Red Warrior, and Yellow Wizard. Those are all the characters from the old Gauntlet game, the old Atari game. It's just a little nod to that. For everybody who's new, I want you to step back from the portal in the middle of the zone back where I am, and I want you to look up. For everybody who's new, I want you to step back where I am, and I want you to look up, and you'll see there's an archway up there. You see the archway up there? Now here's something that even like a lot of people don't know, that if there's ever a live portal keeper in the zone, that archway will have like a wall of fire in the middle of it. So if you're ever not sure if there's if did somebody get the portal keeper and you're not sure if he's still there, you can always look at that archway, and if the firewall's there, then you'll know that you still have a living portal keeper in the zone, and you better find him quick. All right, jump up to your right. You can just jump up on these spikes. You might not want to jump up on it on Elite though, but on Heroic it shouldn't do too much damage. Otherwise you could just go around the ramp. So these portals are constructs, so they also take light damage. They don't take, I think, any other kind of like elemental damage. Construct Bane weapons, Smiters, I think work well. Can anybody suggest something? Because I'm not much of a melee person. If you guys can talk about what you use for portals.
Well, there's that trinket from the blasting chime, I think it's called, that helps with construct fortification, I think.
Oh yeah.
It lowers their fortification.
So one difference between Heroic Shroud and Legendary Shroud is that when you take down the portals, they explode and they curse you. So like I said, gotta have curse pots. And those explosions can do some pretty significant damage on Hard and Elite. But they can even kill lesser, people with like lesser hit points. So just stay with the group. Everybody should be together except for Gijo and Musk. And after we take down this portal, we're just going to go right around to the other side of this wall, basically. Oh, spell absorption prevents the curse. That's cool. I didn't know that. So the force damage is a good point. So if you're, for example, a warlock or like an enlightened spirit especially, and you're running with Utter Dark Blast on, which changes your force damage to evil damage, you would want to turn that off in part 1 of Shroud, because it doesn't take alignment damage. The portals don't take alignment damage, but if you turned Utter Dark Blast off and you're just doing the force damage, it would take the force damage. You just got to remember to turn that back on after part 1. So right around the corner, we should be in the southeast corner now, where Demencia and I are. Murphy, I agree with you. Once you get past a certain level, and I would say that is once you get past level 0, maybe level 1. Once you get out of the grotto, you should have curse pots. So there's going to be trash mobs spawning out of these portals that we're working on, and if trash mobs spawn from the portals that the party is on, you can go ahead and help take those out. And the portal we're moving to now is right where we first zoned in, so south central. If the trash folks could let the next portal keeper stay in the zone, I want the new folks to see the portal keeper. I'll tell you, here's what we're gonna do. At the next portal, we're just gonna watch it for a minute. We're not gonna beat it down. Part of these teaching raids is, showing you sort of like things that can go wrong where possible, and showing you what to look for and stuff like that. Now the next one's going to be in the southwest, so you could just jump up the spikes there. So don't beat on this portal. I just want everybody to hang back and watch the mobs that will spawn out of it. They'll start to get more serious. First it's going to be some troglodytes, and then it's going to be some orthons and trolls, and then we'll get the portal keeper. And so we're doing this because I want you guys to see those portal keepers so you know what to look for. On higher difficulties, they have a decent amount of hit points, so it's really important to have somebody to take them out quick. Like I said, if they're in the zone for a minute, auto fail. So insta killers, people with hurl through hell are great to be part of that trash crew that's looking for those. If everybody's on the same portal, it can really help to reduce the amount of trash that's in the zone. Pugs will fail in part 1 because all this trash that's spawning can get overwhelming. If too much trash gets in the zone and you start getting too much attrition, it can be really hard to recover from, and then suddenly you got portal keepers in the zone and nobody's on them, and then you fail. Oh, that might be the case, Zach. I was like, these guys should have spawned by now. So let's not kill these mobs. I'll just let them beat on me. We'll see what happens. Just leave the mobs there, and I've never really tried to let portal keepers spawn before.
The portal keeper usually spawns right after the shadow cat spawns.
Don't be afraid to get in the blades to see how much damage they're doing to you. It's important to know that. If you die here, nobody's going to give you a hard time. We'll just send you a raise. It's a good time to experiment. Okay, you can see we got a devil that spawned. Don't kill him. So the mobs, as they progressively spawn, they do get more serious. And they're significantly harder hitting on Legendary Hard. These trash mobs can hurt, even on Legendary Hard, and the blades can hurt too. There's your portal keeper, guys. I want you to just have a look at them.
Check for the flames. Check for the flames.
Oh yeah, look at the flames in the center of the zone too. Look up at that archway that I showed you guys. See the wall of flames up there? Just want you guys to see what that looks like. We're going to kill the portal keeper now. Notice that even on normal, he's got 40,000 hit points. That's a lot. So you want to make sure that you have somebody that can take care of him quickly. Very quickly. We can go ahead and start beating on this portal. Thanks for the reminder about the flame wall. So welcome again to those who are watching on the live stream. Got about twice as many viewers now than when I said welcome before. So just want to make sure everybody realizes that this is a teaching raid that we're streaming now. And this is, the High Lords of Malkier on Sarlona we've been doing teaching raids for years now. This is our 4th year doing them. And it's an event that we do specifically for new players and even experienced players that just are new to raids, and whether that means they've been avoiding the entire raiding scene for whatever reason. The next portal is straight back from the previous one, and we drop down. So it's in the western center of the zone. It's on the bottom. And so this is our inaugural 2017 event, doing Legendary Shroud, clearly. And we got 5 folks that are new to or still learning Legendary Shroud. and a couple of them even had had only ever done heroic shroud like once a while ago. So some people are very, very new to this here, which is awesome. And that's what these events are for. Whether they're a totally new player, experienced players that haven't done a specific raid or haven't raided at all, you've been intimidated by raids, you were turned off by raids, whatever the case may be, these events are for you. Okay, we're going to go right around the corner and go up the ramp to the next portal. When we go up the ramp, it'll be to the right. Like I said, guys, if you have any questions along the way, please ask. That's what this event is for. We're about halfway through the portals right now. If you are watching the live stream, also know, I want you to be aware this is going to be a slower event. We're not just going to smash through this raid. This is we're going to be explaining every part. So if you're already experienced with Legendary Shroud, then this is probably going to be a very boring video for you. But if you're a little bit newer, or you think you have something to learn in Legendary Shroud, then stick around. Or if you just want to watch the fun, that's fine too. Also want you guys to know, the next portal is right where we zoned in, but just off to the side a little bit. Want you guys also to know that, in case you're not aware, that in our 2015 Teaching Raid series, we did videos for all of them. So if you're new to any raids and you want to go and look at and watch those are all there on my channel. You can find them in the how-to section, you can find them in the raid section, and in the guides and strategies forum. In the DDO forums, I have compiled a list of them as well. I have terrible portal DPS, so when we do our guild runs, like I was saying in the live stream the other night, I just do trivia, just for fun. I don't even bother to help with anything after the initial trash mobs when I'm on my druid caster. Sometimes I'll, I think I can do a little bit more DPS like I was in wolf form, but it's just so lame. I don't have ruin or anything like that, so. If you're ever not sure where to go in this part, just look for the cluster of blue circles on the map. Looks like everybody's in the right place right now. Well, someone in the live chat said that they just learned about the portal keepers in the firewall, so that's very cool. The next portal, if you turn around and to go to the left and up the ramp, and then keep going straight up the ramps. I'm glad that there are folks watching that can at least learn little tidbits like that, and I'm going to try to throw a few more things like that in. Whenever we do our teaching raids, I try to throw as much of that kind of information as I can in there. And these are the kind of things, like if you just pug this, you might never learn these kinds of things. And that was actually something I didn't know until I'd been playing this game for years. When you do this on Legendary Hard, guys, and let's say you had kind of a lower DPS crew, you could very easily spend 40 minutes or more in part 1. But, a higher DPS crew could have it done, in 10 or 15 minutes. Somebody in the live chat asked, do you start your legendary green steel from scratch, or can you upgrade your old crafted items? So I'm gonna answer that here because some of you folks that are newer to this might be interested in legendary crafting as well. So there is legendary green steel. It's totally separate from heroic green steel. So there are ingredients similar to heroic. So you're gonna have like your double scales and your stones, and there's legendary. It's got legendary double scale, legendary sulfurous stone, legendary twisted shrapnel, and there's small, medium, and large, just like heroic shroud. But there aren't any legendary versions of the base items. So there's no legendary glistening pebbles. There's no legendary green briar twigs and locust husk and those kinds of things. So the way that you make your blanks is by just using these. We're gonna get what's called. Shoot, what are they called? What kind of runes are they from here? Codex runes. Thank you. Yes, because this is actually called the Codex and the Shroud is the proper name for this raid. Thank you very much. So we're going to get these things called Codex runes from the end chest, and you're going to use those Codex runes to purchase your blanks. Go up the ramp to the left, and the next one is right at the top of the ramp. And I think it also requires maybe commendations of valor as well, maybe like 100 or something. It's not that many. And you make your legendary green steel blanks at the same place you make your heroic green steel blanks, which is in the basement of Meridia. You can also do it on your ship, but you cannot do any of the tiers on your ship. You can only craft legendary green steel inside legendary shroud. Now, one of the things we'll try to remember to say this at the end, but I'm going to say it now too. And some people don't realize that once you finish shroud, you can go back to all the different parts and use the crafting devices. So you should never craft while the raid is in progress. In fact, that's kind of a rude thing to do unless you had a compelling reason to do it. But like I've seen raid leaders do that. Like people who are hosting the raid sit there and stay back and craft while the rest of the raid was struggling to finish. That's bad form. So like I said, the important point is, after the raid is over, you can go back and use all the devices. You have all the time in the world. Okay, we're done with part 1. Go up the ramps in the north. There are 2 chests. Another important thing that you're going to do with the Codex runes that you get from the end chest is that you're going to purchase, I think it's called an Immortal's Heart or something like that. And that is the it's the mechanism that takes place of, in Heroic Shroud you have these cleansing stones that you could get from the end reward list. Every 20th completion you could get a cleansing stone, and that allowed you to wear multiple green steel accessories. Well, legendary green steel accessories have the taint of Shavrath as well, but the way that you remove that, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this trash here. Somebody got caught up in it. So unlike Heroic Shroud, there is some trash up here, and then down by where the portal to the next part is too. I'm sorry for not saying that. There's one little difference. But you don't have any legendary cleansing stone. That's okay, Demencia. That's why we're doing this. This is the time to make the mistakes, so you don't go into a pug and do that. And so there's... Oh, don't go in yet, guys. Somebody went in. I didn't want anybody to go in. Soul Mine, if you could just sit tight, please. Just sit right there for a minute, okay? Okay, cool. So once you get 5,000 of those Codex runes, you can buy this Immortal Heart thing, and that's what cleanses your legendary green steel. I'm not going to go any more about legendary green steel crafting. Like I said, I have a video that talks all about it if you're interested. Okay, so part 2. The way this is going to work is we're going to appear in a random corner of a very simple maze. Think of it like a Pac-Man maze, because this next part is actually abstractly based on the old video game Pac-Man. And what I want everybody to do is go immediately south and then over to the southwest corner. And most pugs will actually gather in the south central, but in the High Lords we like to gather in the southwest corner because it's a little bit farther away from the center. It's a little bit farther for the bosses to get back to the center. So the way it's going to work is we're going to go immediately south and then over to southwest, dragging any trash. Don't fight any trash along the way. make sure don't go through the center of the maze, because there are 4 mini bosses there that we don't want to aggro right away. We're going to drag all trash to the southwest corner, and we're all going to fight it there. There's going to be a bunch of AoEs up. I'll drop some earthquakes, and we'll just all fight it together. Don't fight anything along the way. Once all trash is clear, then we're going to go get these 4 mini bosses. And there's 8 potential different mini bosses that could be there. In any given instance, you get 4 of them. So there's like a troll, there's a troglodyte, a hobgoblin, an orthon, a cat, a fire elemental, an earth elemental. So these are the kinds of things. And they're not too bad. They can get some good hits on you on legendary hard, but they're not too bad. And what we have to do is we have to prep them all down to basically 0 hit points. And they can't die if they're together. At least not this first time that we try to kill them. And once we get them all prepped, once we get them all to 0 hit points, and again, they won't die as long as they're together. So we're going to bring them all together to that southwest corner after we clear the trash. Then we're going to split them up and kill them. And one way you can do that is you have people that are intimidating them, and you can pull them apart. But what we like to do is just run them up the west side, because most of them run at they have different run speeds. So if you just run them up the west side, they'll separate on their own because of the different run speeds. And then when they die, they turn to like spirits, ghosts, and then they go back to the center of the maze and they regenerate. Again, it's like Pac-Man, like when you eat a little ghost monster and he turns to eyes and he goes back to the center and he regenerates. It's the same kind of thing. And we have to kill all these for the 4 mini bosses before they regenerate. Otherwise, we can't continue. So, and once all 4 of them are killed, it will bring down a protective barrier that's around this crystal in the center of the maze. And then once that barrier comes down, somebody will be there to kill the crystal. And we really like to have somebody like who can hurl through hell, for example. You can one-shot it with hurl through hell, or if you have like many shotters, fury shotters, or somebody who can do really good range DPS. People with greater ruin, things like that. But if you have like a warlock with hurl through hell, you can just send one warlock up there, and they're going to get it. So first thing we're going to do again, you're going to appear a random corner of a maze. I want you to go straight south. Don't go through the center of the maze. Go straight south and then over to the southwest corner. Let's do that now. I'm going to watch the map. I'm just going to keep an eye on everybody's dots just to make sure people aren't going through the center of the maze. Remember, go due south and then to the southwest corner. Drag all trash with you. Don't fight anything along the way. Talcostado and Demencia, just go, keep going south there, and there you go, you got it. And you want to go southwest. Soul Mine's getting you there, just follow him. Great. Nothing too serious here. Just for sake of providing information, for what it's worth, you can move back and forth out of these butterflies in these trees in the corner to regenerate mana and hit points. I don't think anybody does that anymore, but I just want you to be aware that you could potentially do that. There's no sense of urgency here. There's no auto-fail mechanism in Part 2. So if you were ever in a situation, for example, where things were going really badly, resources were running out, and you sort of just needed to regroup and reset, you could potentially get a bunch of mana back there. It's slow, but you can do it and it's free. I'm going to go round up a few more pieces of trash. Stay right there, and then once we clear all trash, I'm going to take everybody up to the center because I want you to see what's there. Okay, all the trash has been cleared, and so go ahead and follow me to the center. I'm coming back right now. Don't go all the way to the center yet, because I don't want to aggro these guys right away. But just follow me and don't go past me. This is just trash here. We can kill that guy. Okay. We got all the new folks up here. Okay, looks like it. So let's see if we can sneak a peek in there without aggroing stuff. If you come right to where I am, you shouldn't aggro everything. You'll see that you can start seeing some of the mini bosses, and there's Addernack, the Hobgoblin. And I want you to look up and see that protective barrier that's around that crystal up there. And so once we kill all 4 of those bosses, that barrier comes down, and that crystal becomes vulnerable, and that's when you have somebody, you know, Fury shot it or hurl it through hell or whatever the case may be. You want to have somebody up here, or possibly even a group of people, if you don't have somebody who can insta-kill it, up here to take care of that. And one important difference between Heroic Shroud and Legendary Shroud is that thing's got a lot of hit points. In Heroic Shroud, I mean, you know, any caster with like Disintegrate can one-shot it, or it's very easy to take it down in Heroic. In Legendary, it definitely has a lot more hit points, and you need to be more serious about making sure that thing gets down, and you have people that can actually take care of it quickly. Any questions before we pull these mini bosses? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and grab their aggro. Looks like we got the 2 fast ones. So we got the Fire Elemental and the Cat. We're going right back to South Central. Just run right back to where we were. The Fire Elemental and the Cat are really fast. The Fire Elemental's not so fast when he's alive, but when he's dead, he's super quick. Back to the southwest corner, folks, and we're going to fight all of them there. So we want to try to kill the Cat and the Fire Elemental last, because if we kill them first, they can run back to the center within seconds. Everybody to southwest corner. Everybody should be in the southwest corner. And you can just DPS these bosses at will. They can't die as long as they're together, so don't worry about taking them to nothing. And as I said, the Fire Elemental can be really slow when he's alive, like he's not even here yet. Here he comes. Okay, now we got all of them here. You want to make sure that you wait till all of them get here before you start taking them down, you know, to nothing. Because if, you know, the Fire Elemental hadn't gotten here yet, you could potentially kill one before, you know, before the Fire Elemental gets here. But now they're all together, they can't die. Once we prep them, you know, just sit tight, and I'll explain. Let's see, who here can hurl the crystal in High Lords? Anybody? We got no hurlers here, really? Somebody throw me a bone. Okay, I want Musk, Mona, Wooter, and Soulmind. I want you guys to go up to the crystal. And Renar, are you arranged to tune? Looks like you are. Renar, I want you to go up to the crystal too. If you're ever on crystal duty, you know, when your leader says go up to the crystal, make sure you don't have aggro. You don't want to pull the bosses to you. Just checking to make sure our crystal folks are in place. They are. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to start running them up the west side. Just everybody run up the west side. Note that the troglodyte can do this troglodyte stench, which makes you move really slow. So you drink a neutralized poison. Take care of that. And then don't go too far. Make sure you don't get out of sight. We want to, but keep running them up. And as they separate, we'll kill them. It's like you're stuck in a cubby there. Keep running them up, guys. Keep moving. Okay, we're hitting a snag here. Oh, there we go. I hope you guys have time to get it. Crystal, hey, we got it. Whoa, just as the fire elemental got back. Good job, guys. Everybody to south central. And then once there's the barrier that was there is down, and you can go through there and then head to the southeast corner, and there's a couple chests for you. Please don't go into the next part yet, because I do want to explain it. Also, so I want to make sure, I probably should have just let them respawn, because that, it's important to know what to do when that happens. So if the mobs had gotten back there before the crystal was destroyed, then we basically just have to do the same thing again. We need to bring the mobs back out, prep them again, and kill them again. Separate them. Or actually, they don't need to be. Here's one little caveat. They don't need to be separated anymore to kill them. And here's one thing something I don't actually know. I'm not really sure what the mechanism is that makes it so that they can't be killed. I used to think that it was just them being together, but then that somehow, like, during the second iteration, they could die when they're together, but that's not always the case. And I've heard people say, like, sometimes they have these little globes around them that's what's making it so they can't die, but that has been inconsistent as well. So if there's anybody watching the live stream right now who feels that they know precisely what the mechanism is that makes it so that they can die the second iteration when they're together, then I'd like to hear that. We'll see if anybody has the real answer, but in most of the times, the second iteration, they can't die, or they can die even when they're together, so you want to be careful about prepping them and not killing prematurely. Okay, shrine up if you need to. This next part is essentially the same as Heroic Shroud Part 3, so you're going to appear in a random room. And there's going to be a floor tile puzzle, like not a tile puzzle, but a light puzzle. Like and the object is to light up all the lights. And the way that you toggle the lights just by moving onto it, and anytime you toggle a light, every light around it, at least in the cardinal direction, so up, down, left, and right, not diagonally. So the 4 adjacent ones will toggle opposite whatever they were. And the object is to, again, to light up all the lights. And I'm going to give you a link to a puzzle solver. We're not going to be like sort of teaching you how to solve those. That's something that if you want to learn how to do it on your own, there are tutorial videos, and it's something like if you spent, the 5-10 minutes watching the video and then 20 minutes on your own practicing, because there are practicers out there, you could master it. And it's basically, there's some simple algorithms to learn, and or if you don't want to do that, you can just use the puzzle solver. So I'm going to get that link for you. Oh, Soulmine just put it in. Thank you. So solver.cubicleninja.com. If you don't have that site bookmarked, you need to have it bookmarked. It's an awesome site that has lots of great resources for DDO, lots of puzzle solvers, Demon Queen, all kinds, like Reaver Raid, all kinds of riddles and puzzle solvers are there. And so the way that it works for the Shroud one is, you click over the Shroud tab, and then you select what kind of puzzle you have. There's a 3x3 grid puzzle, there's a 4x4 grid puzzle, a 5x5, and then there's a circle puzzle. So you select which puzzle you have, and then you enter what the light pattern looks like, and then you click solve, and it'll tell you which spaces that you need to move to in order to solve the puzzle. Or if you're really good at puzzles like this, maybe you can just look at it and see. So if you want to just play around with it, that's fine too. If you want to try to use the solver, that's fine too. And if you can't figure it out, we will help you. Now, and a very important difference between Heroic Shroud and Legendary Shroud is that, and a lot of people back in the day didn't know this because, for the last few years, people have just been smashing Heroic Shroud, And this part would be over, in a matter of minutes. But even in Heroic Shroud, if this part wasn't done, if part 3 wasn't done in about 5 minutes, you would get this prismatic wall that comes up. And it sweeps around the zone. It slowly moves in a clockwise fashion all around the zone and instantly kills you if you even look at it sideways. I mean, you don't even have to be touching it. If you're just near it, it will kill you. There is no save. There's nothing that prevents it. No kind of spell absorption. It just kills you. Well, in Legendary Shroud, that wall is up immediately. So people will start dying immediately, and there's not really anything anybody can do. You just want to try to solve your puzzle as fast as you can. And if after a few minutes we don't have this part done, a second wall will come up. That's rotating the same way, but 180 degrees away from it. So it can get a little tricky. When you're actually between two walls and you're trying to move between them, and so you don't get killed. But it moves so slow that as long as you're making an effort and you're aware of where they're at, it's not going to kill you. But sometimes people try to be a smartass and beat it around the corner, and then you die because the way they move around corners is kind of weird. So you're going to appear in a random room. You got to solve your puzzle. Make sure to not damage. There's a crystal above the doorway to your room. Do not damage that. And so summons are really bad in here, especially ones that can range or teleport that would attack the crystal on their own. Summons are generally a bad idea in raids, so unless your raid leader tells you it's okay, generally speaking, for the most part, any raids, just leave the summons at home. The crystals should only be broken if you're in an emergency situation, or if your raid leader says, just break your crystals, don't even bother. And what that does is it sort of makes it makes the puzzle count as complete for purposes of finishing this part, but we will lose out on a couple of extra chests. So that's why we don't want to damage the crystals, because we want to get the extra chests. There's going to be some medium ingredients in there. Once you solve your puzzle and you get out of the room, you want to run to the south central of the zone, and there is a room in the center that has a fountain in the middle of it. And in order to get access to that room, there are 3 crystals above that door, which we do want to break. It's the only way to get access to the center chamber with the fountain, which is in the south central. We got to break these 3 crystals. We'll get in there, and then what we'll be doing is you touch the fountainhead, and it says you pick up a vial of lunar dew. And then you take that vial of lunar dew back out to the completed puzzles, and there are fountains in those rooms too, and you touch the head of that fountain to get the water flowing. And then we do that for every puzzle room, and that completes the part. So we complete every puzzle, and then take the vial of lunar dew to every puzzle, and then that's what completes part 3. All the while we're avoiding the walls. Any questions? Thank you, Soulmine. Yes, that is a very important point. Don't put your water in the fountain before the puzzle is solved. Now, here's what a lot of people don't know. Technically speaking, you just can't do that for the last puzzle. You could technically do it as long as it wasn't the last puzzle. But if you put the water in before the last puzzle was solved, then you will lose out on the extra chests. But generally speaking, don't even do it. If a puzzle isn't solved, in other words, all the lights aren't lit, if a puzzle isn't solved, don't start the water. Don't put the water in the fountainhead in that room. Okay, so we touch the altar to get the portal to come up, and whenever you're ready, go ahead and go into the next part. like I said, if you want to try to use the solver, great. If you want to just play around with it on your own, that's fine too. And after you've had a chance to play around with it, if you can't figure it out, just ask for help, and someone will be there to help you. And it's great if you can tell people where you are. I know you guys are new, so you don't know. But like, for example, you could say, I need help in the north 5x5 or the southeast 3x3 or whatever the case might be. That way people know where to go, because there's like 11 different puzzles. But for now, if you're not sure where you're at, just say, hey, I need help. It's like Wooder found the wall. Good job, Wooder. Wooder here is actually a graduate of our Teaching Raid series last year. She joined us for every single one of our Teaching Raids last year. And she wouldn't go away, so we just thought we'd bring her in guild. Okay, the south central room is open, so I just want to re-emphasize there's no need to break any more crystals in this part. There's some trash in that center room, so that's one difference between heroic and legendary. There's also going to be some trash mobs once we complete, when we get to the chest of this part. You can only carry one vial of lunar dew at a time. When you're in the center, you can look around and you can sort of jump up and see where the wall is. You can see it's a prismatic wall. Those of you watching the live stream, the wall is right over there. It's really hard to see through the trees. The wall is on the east side right now, moving south. Get maybe a better view over here. Crap, I missed. Oh, there it is over there now. It can even get you if you're like right there. Oh, that was so close, Gijo. You are so lucky.
Nah, I'm just good.
We got that on video. So like I said, you don't even want to get close to this wall. Like if you're moving behind it, be patient. Oh, look at you, Gijo. I hope that kills you. You deserve it. You're really tempting fate. If you're moving behind it, don't get too close. It will kill you. You don't have to be anywhere near it for it to kill you. And if you want to troll your friends in guildies, you can tell them that they can intimidate the wall and pull it back the other way. You can tell them they just need to get up close to it and hit intimidate, and they can make it move the other way. That's a funny little joke. Okay, it sounds like we're done. All the puzzles were completed. All the fountains were started. You can go to the south central now and go to the center room. There's might be some trash. And then you're going to get 2 chests that are underwater in the center. Also, just like the butterflies in the trees in the last part, you can actually get mana back here by jumping in the water. And there's also a sweet spot down like in the corner. You can keep like swimming into the corner and you'll very, very rapidly regenerate mana. It's actually where I am right now. So for those of you watching the live stream, watch my mana. You can see it's moving up pretty quickly. I can't think of a really good reason why anybody would need to do this in Legendary Shroud. Because you do have a shrine here anyways at the end, but just for sake of providing as much information as I can. Maybe you forgot to shrine in the last part and you need a little mana. Shrine up if you want to, and please don't go into the next part yet. And here's your crafting device for Tier 2, the Legendary Altar of Subjugation. Again, you can only craft Legendary Green Steel inside of the Shroud, except you make your blanks outside of the Shroud. So make sure you have your blank with you before you come in and when you decide to craft Legendary Green Steel. Once everybody gets here, I'm going to start explaining. Alright. So the first thing I want to mention is that this Morenoloth skeleton guy, Yugoloth Ferryman, is a vendor. And what a lot of people don't know is that he actually sells high, medium, and low Shavrath energy cells, which are used for heroic green steel crafting. So you never have to, bug your friends for them, if you're running Shroud, you could just buy them from him if you really needed them. And he's got some other supplies too, some spell components and things. But those Shavrath energy cells are not used for legendary green steel crafting. But it's a good time to repair if you died a few times. You can talk to him and repair your gear. Or if you embarrassingly ran out of spell components, you can quietly buy them from him and nobody will be any the wiser. So the next part is essentially the same as Heroic Shroud Part 4. One important difference is that you can be resurrected if you die, whereas in Heroic Shroud Part 4, if you die, you get sent to the next part, and you can't be resurrected. Well, there is actually sort of a little trick to get people back, but normally, you just have to wait for people to get to you. But in Legendary, you can raise people, and there's no trick to it. And it plays the same, so the way it's going to work for those of you who are totally new to all of this is we're going to be in like an arena. And there's going to be 2 rounds of trash mobs, like devils and cats, I think. And once we clear those out, then the boss Eretrikos, who is affectionately known as Harry, is going to spawn in the center. And Harry won't move from the center in this part. Just like Heroic Shroud, he stays in the center. And you just start beating on him. And we gotta kill him to end this part. And there's gonna be whirling blades that they spawn like as you're killing the trash mobs, they'll spawn, and they seem to be like heat seeking. Like, I don't know, I think it might be like whoever kills that trash mob, that blade will actually follow you for a little while, and maybe it might last 30 seconds and then it just disappears. If you have lower hit points, those blades can be pretty intense. Not so much on normal, but hard and elite. There's also going to be, after Harry spawns, and he's there for 10 seconds or something, there's going to be a whole chain of like 15 blades that are going to encircle the party, and there's going to be a gap. So if you needed to move out of the blades, you could potentially do it without going through the blades. But it's like a semicircle of blades, maybe even a 3/4 circle of blades that are going to encircle us. And those blades are going to slowly move in to the center. And eventually getting right on top of where the party's beating on the boss. And once the blades get all the way to the center, after a few seconds, Harry's going to disappear. Now, here's where, some people will just stay in and fight through the blades. If you have higher hit points and higher PRR, and you can survive the blades, especially if there's a healer in the party, that's great. Maybe your raid leader will instruct you, like everybody come out for the blades, or stay in for the blades, I'll heal you, whatever the case may be. You might be given instructions, you might not. If you're not given instructions, you basically have to make your own choice. If you think you can survive the blades, stay in. If not, no, you can't kill the blades. If you can't survive the blades, then you just jump out for them, And if Harry disappears, then we're going to get another round of trash, and then after about a minute or two, he's going to reappear, But in every successive round after the first, there are going to be these gnolls, 8 gnoll casters that are going to heal him with like these green beams. And they heal him pretty quickly. And so it's a really good idea to have people designated to kill them, you know, especially like insta-killers, assassins, people who can hurl through hell. If you can somehow immobilize them before they get their green beams off too, that you can prevent the healing that way. So if you can like earthquake them or hold them or use like the warlock ability, Dark Delirium, for example, anything that immobilizes or holds them or stuns them is gonna, if you can do that before they get their green beam off, that's great too. Bottom line is that you want to take them out before they can heal Harry too much. I mean, you can lose ground. They can heal him back up to full potentially. And this is where, like, you know, I told you guys before, like, pugs are failing legendary hard shroud. I mean, you could fail legendary normal shroud if you had lower DPS. So you could get into a situation where if you had a lower DPS pug, they are not able to kill Harry in round 1, and then they're not able to kill the gnoll healers fast enough, and then they just heal Harry up more than they can DPS him, and so now you just get caught in an endless cycle of not being able to DPS the boss fast enough. You're not able to out DPS the healers, essentially. And so you can have a fail in part 4 really easily with a lower DPS group. So we're going to go in, kill 2 rounds of trash, start beating on the boss in the center. On normal, we should be able to do that no problem in 1 round. But here's what I want to do. Because this is a teaching raid, I don't want to kill him in the first round because I want everybody to see those gnoll healers. So do not kill Harry in the first round. We'll just take him down to 25% or something, and then we'll just back off so everybody can see what happens. Any questions before we go in there? He never moves from the center in Heroic or Legendary Shroud in Part 4. I guess technically when he disappears, and then while he's during your fighting the trash, while he's gone, he flies overhead and starts tossing down meteor swarms at us, but we can't attack him when he's doing that. So when he's vulnerable, he's always in the center. Okay, we click on the altar to pull up the portal. Go ahead and step through the portal. You'll see there are trash mobs in the center. There's no urgency here. You know, it's not until Harry spawns that, you know, you're sort of on a timer, if you will. Watch how the blades will start spawning once we start killing these mobs. See how there's some blades that spawn there? And they might be following you, like the Mincia. It looks like it's following you right now. You got some friends. Congratulations. See how they're following Mincia there? They'll last maybe 30 seconds and they should go away. Just ignore them. Okay, Harry's going to spawn here in the center. And just start beating on him. Remember, I don't want us to kill Harry. Please just take him down to about 25% or so. Because I want everybody to see what happens when you don't kill him. Also, I want you to take it, you know, if you're newer, look around. I want you to see that ring of blades that's encircling us right now. So right now it's just like a half circle of blades, but as they get closer, it'll be a smaller circle, and they'll basically complete the circle. So there won't be, right now there's a big gap to jump out of them, but there won't be any gap. You can see Zig's got held. It's good to have freedom movement in this part. A lot of people don't know that even in Heroic, Harry can cast Mass Hold Monster. I want everybody to stay in for the blades, even if you think that you can't survive them, because I want you to experience that. So please just stay in for the blades. Don't DPS Harry anymore. Everybody stop DPS, stay in for the blades. I'm going to toss some mass regenerates here. Stay in for the blades. If you die, it's okay, we'll raise you. I just want you to experience it. See, no problem when you got a little healing. But I noticed that some people were taking some serious hits, so that's important to be aware of too. And if we were on hard, that they would be hitting even harder. Probably about twice as hard. Notice that Harry is flying overhead now. He's going to drop some meteor swarms on us, which are sometimes bugged and don't even fall down on us anymore. And now we got a wave of devils that we need to take out. And let's just go ahead and, you know, if you can insta-kill, go ahead and start taking out the gnolls, but the rest of the party, I want you to just go ahead and gather here in the south. We're going to kill the south gnolls, and we're just going to work around in a corner. I know that we could probably out DPS those gnolls, but just for the sake of learning the process, let's go ahead and kill these gnolls and just work clockwise. You know, if you do this in a pug, your leader might tell you to do it a different way. Go ahead and DPS Harry now. But, you know, he might assign a few people to kill them, whatever the case is. And that is all for part 4. The blades disappear. And now we go to the northwest corner to get our loot. And at the end of each part of Shroud, there's typically a lot of, like, loot gen lag. So what we're experiencing now is you're basically going to see that every time. Go ahead and shrine up. If you're familiar with Heroic Shroud, the next part is totally different. It takes place in the same zone, but it's a completely different fight, and there's no Harry there. In fact, there's no portal to get to that next part like before. Like at the end of Heroic Shroud Part 4, there's a portal that appears, and as soon as anyone clicks that portal, the entire party is killed and sucked into Part 5. That mechanism isn't there anymore. Instead, we just go over there whenever we want. Once you click the shrine here, the altar, you see this Codex of Infinite Planes appears in front of the altar. Whenever you're ready to go to Part 5, just click on that, but don't go yet. So the way the new Part 5 works is we're going to kill 4 mini-bosses, and it's not the same 4 mini-bosses in Part 2. Like in Legendary, or in Heroic Shroud, there's the same bosses. But here, it's 4 different bosses, and it's actually the bosses from, like, the quest, like Subversion and all that. It's like the Irenes from Devil's Details, and it's like the tiefling, the big tiefling guy from Tavern Brawl, and it's like I think it's the frogman guy from Subversion, for example. And then I think the guy from Multitude of Menace is there as well. So we're going to fight those 4 mini-bosses. And there's no special mechanism. They don't have to be separated or anything like that. The one guy can duplicate himself, and he can hit pretty hard. I think he's an assassin. So be aware of that. Anything special with these first 4 mini-bosses, guys, that I should mention? The Irenes will disappear and reappear. So she can be a little bit irritating. Some people like to take her to focus on her first because there are going to be moments, there are going to be times when you can't DPS her because she's disappeared, and you just focus on the other guys at that point. It's also a good idea to make Carver a priority because he's going to duplicate himself, and again, he's an assassin and can kind of hit pretty hard, can hit some folks pretty hard. Once we kill those 4, that's a good point. Dot her up because she'll keep taking damage from dots when she's disappeared. Once we kill those 4, then there's this Rakshasa guy who's going to call upon the Codex of the Plains to spawn trash mobs, and he's going to spawn thematically mobs from the different planes. So there's going to be like mobs from Shavroth and mobs from Zendrik and mobs from Limbo and so on and so forth, and Zoriat, which is kind of neat. On normal, we're going to be able to swarm them. It's really, even on legendary hard, it's not too bad. I mean, you can start getting some attrition again if you have lower hit point groups or lower DPS group, but this part is pretty easy. But do be aware that when he summons mobs from Zoriat, that there's going to be a beholder with a lot of hit points. He can be insta-killed, which is preferable. Otherwise, you really want to take him out quickly, because, a beholder with 200,000 hit points or 100,000 hit points can be a giant pain in the ass. And we're going to go through maybe a dozen of those kinds of waves. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not sure if it's timed or if it's a set number of waves. I really don't know. But we're going to probably fight through a good dozen of those trash waves. And after we do that, then the Rakshasa will become active, and we're going to fight him. And he does a Hellball attack that hits pretty hard. Normal, no big deal. Hard, he can take out. If you got less than 1,000 hit points, he can take you out. On Elite, he's I've never even done this, gotten this far on Elite, so I would imagine he is really, really hard. And so just be aware that he has that attack, and if he's taking you out, you might want to maybe make sure you don't have aggro, or if you're meleeing him, maybe step back and range him. And then after we kill him, and there's going to be one, I think it's once he activates, or maybe it's after that, there's going to be more trash mobs spawning. And then the Codex of Infinite Planes is actually the boss. So this book in front of us, we're actually going to fight. It's kind of silly, but it is what it is. So after the Rakshasa is dead, the final boss is this flying book, which actually is programmed, I think, the same as the Magefire Cannon, like in Schemes of the Enemy. And it shoots. What's its big attack? It's not a Hellball, is it? Okay. Yeah, it's like a Force Blast, and it can hit pretty hard. So, again, normal, probably not that big of a deal. Hard, it can take you out. And I would imagine Elite hits pretty, like, really hard. So, we're going to step through, kill 4 mini-bosses, fight about a dozen waves of trash, fight a Rakshasa, fight a book, and then we complete. Just like Heroic Shroud, if you've done that, there are 4 pools, like 2 in the front, 2 in the back, you can run through to get mana back. Does anybody have any questions before we get started? Hey, J. Michael, I just saw you say hi. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, guys. Let's kill a book. Go ahead and step through. Click on the book to step through. I forgot to buff. There are some perching spots some people like to stand in, up on the ledges back there. Notice that there are Shavroth blades whirling about. In Heroic Shroud, you don't see those blades until, after Harry's active. In Heroic Shroud, because I know that there was at least one person who said they had only done it once and it was a long time ago, so if you don't remember, in Heroic Shroud you fight 4 mini-bosses and then you kill Harry again. Okay, so the 4 mini-bosses are dead. Now he's just going to summon trash mobs from the different planes. And for what it's worth, each plane will summon in the same spot. So whenever he does Fernia, it's always back where it was. Whenever he does Shavroth, it's up in the front. Whenever he does Zoriat, it's in the opposite corner, etc. Zendrick will always be to his right. And if you've never tried moving in and out of the little pools to regenerate your mana, you're welcome to take a minute to just play around with that. For those of you watching on the live stream, if you're ever doing this, the best little trick is just to sort of go over the corner. It's the quickest. You can generate mana back that way. It's a little bit quicker than trying to do this number. Because here you're getting it on both passes, so it's twice as fast. And then these pools, in Heroic Shroud they disappear once Harry's active, but the back ones will still be there. I don't know if those disappear or not in Legendary. Anybody, doesn't want to lose their buffs when the Beholder's out, which he's out right now, he just got insta-killed. If you slip on a spell absorption item like your Pale Lavender Ioun Stone or your Jeweled Cloak or whatever, that will block their debuffing effect. As long as it has charges on it. And that'll work, that'll work on any Beholders in the game. So Limbo and the Slads and the Zoriat mobs will always be there. Kyber and Fernia are always in the back there. The Devils, the Shavroth spawns are always here. And then the Zendrick mobs, which are the Skaro and the Drow, are always spawning here. I think that covers all of them. there's anybody in the live stream knows, because like I said, I don't really know if this is a set number of waves or if this is a timed mechanism. I really don't know. If anybody in the live stream knows, please chime in. Nice finger. Okay, the Rakshasa is active. So you really just want to focus on him. Don't worry so much about the trash. Your leader, your raid leader might tell you, might assign people for trash, or he might not. He might just tell everybody to focus on the Rakshasa. So just, if your leader doesn't tell you otherwise, then you should generally just focus on the Rakshasa. Alright guys, and then we fight a book. And then that's it. I believe the book is a construct, yep. So you want to bring appropriate weapons. And that is all guys. 2 chests on normal, 1 will drop large ingredients, 3 on hard, 2 will drop large ingredients, and I believe 4 on elite, with 3 dropping large ingredients. Thank you so much for coming. If anybody has any questions before before we end this, please you can ask now. And if you had a good time tonight and you felt like you learned something, if you want to make a note about your experience, just saying, had a good time, would recommend it to others in the forum, because I really want to encourage other people to join these. I know there's a lot of people out there that have been avoiding the raiding scene for a variety of reasons, and the more encouragement they have to get involved, the better. Thanks everybody for watching on the live stream. If you're new, if you haven't recalled out yet, don't recall. I want to show you something. I want to show you that if you look in the back, you'll see these 4 portals. There's 2 on each side. If you examine them, they say, like, this one says Portal of the Waning Moons, and you can look at the little picture window and you can see that's part 1. Part 1 is the Waning Moons, and you can see that little altar, or that little archway where the firewall was, that showed if there was a portal keeper up. You can recognize that's part 1, so that's the portal to part 1. If you examine this one next to it, it says Portal of the New Moons, and you can see there's like a little picture of the center of part 3. That's to go back to part 3. And if you go to the other side, the portal on the right says Portal of the Waxing Moons. Actually, this is part 3 there. And then the next part, it says Portal of the Full Moons. This is to part 4. So this is how you go back to the previous parts if you want to use the crafting devices. If you're going to do crafting, remember, always wait to the end of Shroud to do your crafting. Don't do it during the raid. It's kind of bad form. You might lose some friends if you do that. Okay guys, thanks again for coming out. There's going to be a different teaching raid every week, Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern. I will post details in the Sarlona forum, usually Mondays, because I like to get it out there before the Tuesday Chronicle. Don't forget to turn it in, and have a great night.
Hey, everybody. Be safe.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks again for watching, live streamers. That is it, and that is all. And have a great night.